I'm making a change today. The liquor been taking the pain away. I heard you was giving your chain away. That's kind of like giving your fame away. What's wrong with you? I sit in a box where the owners do.
Yo, what is up, broskies? Keanu coming at you with a new deck, brand new deck to the channel. Brand new deck for me, and I thought it would be like really like the perfect time, just because all these cards have been reprinted. So this deck is super affordable now. It's pretty cheap, but it's still highly competitive, and I like playing cheap competitive decks, so I'm gonna go ahead and get into it. I ran across a few lists, and they all look pretty consistent. There's like your standard cards, apparently there's your standard combos, stuff like that, but some of the cards I've switched out are just like personal choices. So I'm just gonna go ahead and get into it. I'm gonna start out with triple, make sure you can see that okay, triple Swordsoul Strategist Long Wand. It's a free special summon. You just discard one Swordsoul card and one other War Monster, special summon it. Makes for pretty easy sync 10 plays. If this card is sent to the graveyard as synchro material, you can inflict 1200 damage to your opponent. You can only use each of the effect once per turn. Long Wand's like pretty terrific card. It's just super free, so that's why I played 3. I see a lot of Bliss playing 2. Just so far in testing, because I haven't had a chance to take this to locals yet. Just so far in testing, I'm really enjoying the third. Next up, I think this is pretty standard across the board, of course. Triple Moye is just super free. If this card is normal or special, just reveal one Swordsoul card or one monster, special summon another level 4 token, and you can sync those off. And if this card is used as material, you can just draw one card. So it gives you like really easy like chain blocking abilities. Next up, double Taya. I see a lot of people run 3. I think I might bump it up to 3 and bump one of my Yugiohs down. I do really like it. You can just banish one Swordsoul card or Worm Monster from your graveyard, special summon it, and then special summon one Swordsoul token. While that token is in the monster zone, the player who summon it obviously can't summon anything from the extra deck except synchro monsters. If this is sent to the graveyard as sync material, you can send one Swordsoul card or one Worm Monster from your deck to the graveyard. So I'm not quite sure on the ratio with that yet. I like 2 so far, and the only other thing like I would bump down is probably like out of this double Yugioh. This pretty free card. If your opponent controls more monsters, just special summon it. I'm not gonna go like too in depth like on each card effect, just because I know this deck's been around a little while. But you can tribute this card. Well, during the main phase, you can tribute this card special summon one Swordsoul monster or one Fallen Valbaz, so it helps you get into your engine. If for some reason you break super hard, but this is one of the more consistent decks I've played here of late. Next, for the Tinny package, and forgive my little sniffles, I've been battling a cold. Ashana, this is the best one. It's just a free special. You can banish it to special summon another Tinny from your deck. Double Vishuda. When I remember playing this in Dinos, it was just free like double evolution pill fodder. It's also pretty free bounce. You just return a card to the hand. You just banish it. It's a level 7. Pretty great card. I remember when it was released, I think the first printing was like was it common? Oh no, I think this is the first print. It was rare, I guess. Yeah, and it was just like the best card. And the Rising Rampage, it had to have been one of the best cards in that set, like at that like low rarity. Just crazy. Tinny Spirit at Hara. So basically, most of the time you're special summoning Adhara off your Ashana, and then you can banish Adhara and bring back a banished Worm Monster, except this card. So I believe you can still, it doesn't say except Tinny Spirit Adhara, so you can add back an Adhara if you've already run through one. I'm pretty sure, but easy to recycle. One Shatana. I don't have Dweller in the extract, but I'm gonna put it in there. But this card's pretty good. It's the last one you'd play. I think that's pretty like standard across the board. Next up for hand traps, and this is probably where it differentiates like a little bit. Triple Ash, Ash is just great across the board. DD Crow, I think it's like necessary. And 2 Nibiru, because everybody plays into it now. No one's really trying to play around it. So it's just super free when they walk right into it. Outside of that, I would say you could play some Magma Mutts. That little engine, like 3 Magma Mutts, 1 Druid Swarm. The only problem, I don't have them right now. Kane has the playset. We don't have 2 playsets yet, so he has a playset and that whole thing in his branded Predaplant list. If you want to see that, I'll put a link in the description. But yeah, so I don't have those copies, but I think that would be a terrific little hand trap package to put in here. Next up, triple Swordsoul Emergence. Just add 1 Swordsoul monster from your deck to your hand, or if you control a Synchro monster, you can add 1 Worm monster instead. If this card is banished, you can target 1 Swordsoul monster or 1 Worm monster you control, increase or decrease its level by 1 until the end of this turn. Emergence is pretty crazy. I've never opened this card, like in testing, in play testing. I've never like opened this card, which is kind of crazy, but it's easy to get to. Heavenly Dragon Circle. This card's pretty crazy. Just tribute 1 Worm monster, add 1 Worm monster from your deck to your hand, or if you tribute a non-effect, which your extra deck comes up in that scenario, monster should activate this card. You can special summon it instead, but negate its effects. During your main phase, if you control a face-up non-effect monster, you can banish this card from the graveyard, add 1 Tinny card from your deck to your hand. Tinny actually has like a lot of great support. The card's crazy. The next crazy Tinny card is Vessel for the Dragon Cycle. Just send 1 more monster from your deck to your graveyard. Then if you control a face-up non-effect monster, you can add from your deck to your hand 1 Tinny. So it's basically like a Foolish Barrel and a Rhoda all in one. This card's just nuts. And then Swordsoul Sacred Summit. Just 1 of them. Just target 1 Swordsoul monster in your graveyard. Or if you control a Synchro monster, you can target 1 Worm monster instead. Special summon it. If this card is banished, you can target 1 Swordsoul monster or Worm monster you control. Increase or decrease its level by 1 until the end of this turn. Terrific card. Next up, if you know my deck profiles, are always adding some type of like just board breakers. I think Triple Tactics Talent is a great board breaker depending on your matchup, or it just helps you keep it, drawing into cards, keep extending your play. But it's really great. You could run like Imperm instead. A lot of people like running Imperm. You could run the Magma if you have them, or Dark Ruler and Moors. But this deck OTK is really easy, so I don't really want to like blink a battle phase. So, and then 1 Call by the Grave because it's broken. And last, to round out the 40 card main deck, 2 double Swordsoul Blackout. So basically, if you're familiar with my my Scareclaw deck profiles, this kind of is like Twin Saw. So basically, target 1 monster you control and 2 cards your opponent controls, destroy them. If this card is banished, you can special summon 1 Swordsoul token. While that token is in the monster zone, neither player, the player who summoned it cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck except Synchro monsters. It's just great. It's great. This card's crazy. But I think 2 is pretty necessary. A lot of people play 1. I saw a couple lists play 3, but I think 2 is like perfect. But that's it for the main deck. Go ahead and get into the extra deck real quick. Double Monk of the Tinny. Surprisingly, this card is kind of expensive now. These are like $3 a piece. I would definitely, and this is just like the OTS, like super rare. Every copy is like $3, so I would go ahead and get them now before people realize like, this deck is like super cheap. They all got everything got reprinted Mavens except like this, I believe. So I definitely picked that up. 1 Shaman of the Tinny. Great card. It's just 1 card. Discard 1 card, then target 1 War monster your graveyard, special summon it. Also, for the rest of the turn, this turn you cannot activate the effects of monsters special from the extra deck except Tinny monsters. When attack is declared involving your face-up non-effect monster, which that's never going to come up, you can target 1 card your opponent controls, destroy it. I think you used to do something with like Tinny Berserk, it's like Berserk Tenyi, that Link 3, whatever. Yazi's pretty crazy. I have my ulti in the binder. I'm not putting the ulti in here. Your opponent cannot target this card with card effects. With card on the field with card effects. You can only use each of the following effects once per turn. You can target one Yang Z monster you control and one card your opponent controls. Destroy them. When this card you control is destroyed with battle or card effect and sits your graveyard, special one war monster from your deck. In defense position, this card's crazy. 2 Baxia, pretty standard. Baxia is a great card. And all these are like super cheap now. This was just like reprinted out. It goes from the past. I think this one was too. So it goes from the past 2, goes from the past 2. This has been reprinted like quite a few times. You should pick up the Prismatic though. 1 Draco Berserker of the Tenyi. This card ends games. When your opponent activates monster effect, just banish it. If this attacking card destroys an effect monster by battle and sends it to your graveyard, this card gains attack equal to the destroyed monster's original attack. Also, it can make a second attack. This card's insane. It's nuts. It closes out games. Next up, triple Grandmaster Chi-Chao. If this card is synchro summon, you can just add one to add to your hand or banish Swordsoul card. Sorry about that, from your deck. You can banish 1 Swordsoul card or worm monster from your hand or graveyard, and then target 1 other effect monster on the field and negate its effects until the end of this turn. Which goes in incredible like combination with Qingying. Now I will say a lot of times I've been playing this, if I'm going first, I'm definitely playing this deck a little more conservatively. I'm not going into huge like combo lines where I'm ending on like double synchro like or triple synchro like, you know, blackout. A lot of times I'm not trying to like play into like Nibiru, and like sometimes like 1 is just enough. So a lot of times like, you know, you might be sitting like with Ash and Crow, DD Crow in hand, and you can sit like on a Qingying in a blackout or something of those sorts, or something like that. Or a Chi-Chao. Qingying, for each banish card, it gains 100. Also, your opponent is like getting powered down by 100. And then if this card be destroyed by a card effect, you can banish 1 card from your graveyard. Instead, if a card is banished, you can banish 1 card each from your opponent's field and graveyard. And you can only use that effect once per turn. Just terrific card. And lastly, double Swordsoul Sinister Sovereign. Xing Long Wan. I think it's how you say it. Sorry if I mispronounced that. If you synchro summon another worm monster while this card is on the field, you just draw 1 card. If your opponent special summons a monster, except during the damage step, you can banish 1 of those monsters, and if you do, inflict 1200 damage to your opponent. When your opponent activates a spell trap or quick effect, you can banish that card, and if you do, it inflict 1200 to your opponent. So nice little burn card. But like I said, that's it for this one. Please like the video if you like this video. Comment down below what you would change with this deck. I think this deck is like super competitive. I think this like version is like super competitive, like my specific list. But if you have any feedback, I'd love to hear it in the comments. And I thought I'd throw this together. Remember, just because Mavens has been reprinted, super affordable deck. I know a lot of like our subscribers love those like more budget, affordable style decks. But yeah, like the video, comment down below. Please subscribe to the channel. We're so close to hitting that 1K. We want you to be a part of it, and we'll see you next time.